If you're telling me that the writers of the New Testament were writing after the destruction of the temple, why do, well, let me finish, my friend. Why don't these writers say, hey guys, the temple has been destroyed? Who were the first witnesses of the resurrection?
I've absolutely no idea because I wasn't there.
Well, you listen to what they've written.
What?
Matthew,
That
Paul.
was written.
Right, hold it. Oh, no, no, no,
What
no,
did Paul
no.
say?
In a court of law.
What did
In
Paul
a
say?
court of law.
What did Paul say?
Hang on.
What did
Paul
Paul say?
came after.
No, he
Okay.
didn't.
Yes,
Paul
he
came
did.
first.
Paul
came
was
first.
not part of the 12 apostles.
Paul came. Okay, the writings of Paul came first.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Matthew is the first writer.
No.
The first
No.
gospel was
No.
written AD 54.
The majority of
Of
biblical
what?
scholars,
Who?
the majority, okay, atheistic, evangelical, Roman Catholic, okay, accept
What?
that the first Christian writings were the writings of Paul.
That's nonsense. That's back
No,
to
it's
front.
not. No, it's not.
Was
No, it's
Paul part of the 12 apostles?
not. No.
Right.
No,
Who was?
Paul.
Right. Who were the 12
No,
apostles?
it doesn't. I don't care who the
Oh,
apostles
no, no,
are.
no. What I
I'm
do.
talking about history.
Yeah, that's history. The
is-
timeline. Time out.
Yeah.
Jesus died AD 30. Who were there? Was Paul there? No.
I don't know who was there.
Right. Matthew was there.
No, he
John
wasn't.
was there.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, there
No, he
were.
wasn't. Just-
Okay. Peter was there.
I don't
Okay.
believe that exists.
James.
Smith.
James was
wasn't
there.
there, bro.
Okay, look
Bro.
at James.
Bro.
Who was James?
Bro,
Who was James?
I'm gonna basically cut this now, okay? I'm gonna basically cut this now, okay?
Why?
Because biblical scholars,
What biblical scholars?
evangelical scholars,
What?
okay, evangelical scholars,
Yeah.
biblical scholars, basically are saying that the first person to write down Christian stuff was Paul in around 48, 50 AD.
That's rubbish.
No, it's not. That's
It's
what they're saying.
rubbish.
Okay? And
Look.
biblical scholars say that the Gospel
What?
of Mark
What?
was written in AD 70.
Oh my goodness me.
AD 70,
Hey,
Matthew.
how could that
Matthew,
be?
Matthew,
Yeah.
Matthew,
Yeah.
80, Luke around the same time.
Oh, my
and John,
goodness.
90 AD.
Oh yeah.
That is what, okay?
Hey,
This is what is taught.
No, that's nonsense. You know why it's
No, it's not
nonsense?
nonsense.
It's
It's
very easy to rebuke that.
No, it's not.
Number one,
No.
Jesus died what year?
30, 33 AD, depending.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Who were the eyewitnesses to the crucifixion?
His so-called disciples.
Oh, such as Matthew, John, Peter. Yes, these are the apostles.
Hang on a second, okay? Hang on a second, okay?
What?
You expect me to believe
Yeah.
something that was written 30, 40, 50 years
No,
after?
no,
I don't
no.
believe them.
No. Actually, Matthew wrote early.
We don't know who Matthew
We
was.
do. Oh,
No, we
who
don't.
told you that?
They were all anonymous.
No, they're not anonymous.
Yes, they were anonymous. The names of the Gospels were given in like the 2nd century AD.
Oh my goodness. Matthew Levi. Matthew was a Levite.
No, he wasn't.
Hey,
No, he wasn't, my friend.
Matthew
My
actually
friend.
tells you that himself.
He wasn't, okay?
Have you
No-
read the New Testament?
No biblical scholar.
Have you read the
no
New
reputable
Testament?
biblical scholar agrees with what you're saying, bro.
Have you read the New
Of
Testament?
course I have.
Right. Matthew's
Of course I have.
gospel is number one. Why is it number
But
one?
Mark was the first gospel.
No, Matthew
Yes,
Levi.
Mark was the first
Listen
gospel.
to me, my
Why
friend.
does Mark?
Right.
Why does Mark, Matthew, and why is there? I think is it 80 or 90% of Mark is also in Matthew and Luke, because scholars have realised for the last 200 years that Mark was the first gospel written.
No, he wasn't.
And it
That
was
is correct.
written in about 70 AD.
No.
Matthew-
I dated at 63. I disagree with you there.
What?
I agree with you.
It's early.
It's earlier.
It's
63
early.
63 AD.
Right.
Give me 63. but
Right.
I'll give you that it was definitely the first gospel written.
My friend,
Right.
I'm a fan of Bottom, and I'll go
He
right
is
to him.
wrong. He is dead wrong.
No. Bart, are you reading his books or are you reading his stuff that's peer reviewed?
No, I'm reading his stuff. I've
Go
read
read
his books. Yeah.
don't read his books. Go read his peer-reviewed articles.
that's fine, okay.
You'll see.
Okay.
Early 60s is where Bart Ehrman's at.
Okay, early 60s,
I promise.
70s. Okay,
Right.
early
I get
60s,
you.
70s.
Okay, what?
But at the end of the day, it was the first gospel.
Oh my God.
There you go. And
Right.
then,
Mark is the
and
first
then,
gospel.
and then it's Matthew and Luke, and not sure, and then John.
John is way off. Yes.
Okay, John is about 90 AD.
No, it's not. You know
I
why?
give you 90.
You
I'll
know
give you a
why?
later date on John.
Look, in Israel today,
What's the date of John?
let me
You know what?
tell you
No,
why.
I'll give you the.
Hey, there's one event apart from Jesus' death and resurrection,
Yeah.
which Jewish people even today
What's that?
are worried about.
What's that?
The destruction of the temple.
And that happened when?
What year?
70 AD.
Right. Now, when you, 70 AD.
I got you on the dates.
Now,
Okay.
when you read the New Testament writers, whether it's Matthew, John, etc.,
Yeah.
why is it that the destruction of the temple is not mentioned?
Why is it the destruction of the temple?
And yet it's a significant event that affected everybody.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Now, why is it not mentioned?
Why is it not mentioned?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is mentioned, for example, in Matthew 24, are predictions by Jesus, the temple will be destroyed. Okay? Now, if you're telling me that the writers of the New Testament were writing after the destruction of the temple, why don't, well, let me finish, my friend. Why don't these writers say, hey guys, the temple has been destroyed? Not once does any writer say the temple, that big, beautiful building, has been destroyed if the writers of the New Testament written after AD 70.
I can't answer that question because I
Can I
didn't write
say
it.
something here?
Far away, my friend.
Because if the Bibles are a biography of Jesus' life, then why would they mention the destruction of the temple? That's not the point of the Bible. So it could have happened during that time.
I don't know.
That's the biography of Jesus' life.
Oh my goodness, you don't get it, do you? All the writers of the New Testament write with the idea that the temple will be destroyed. Mark 13, Luke 21, Matthew 24. Because Jesus predicted this, right? Now, if these guys are saying,
Sorry.
you know, he
sorry.
doesn't.
Hold a second, okay?
Does
Hold a
it?
second, okay?
Now,
You're putting-
when the
wait a
temple
second.
was
Sorry,
destroyed-
Sorry.
What?
Wait a second, okay? You are making assumptions there, okay?
what assumption?
You're basically making assumptions that Jesus said that.
Oh, okay, let's go with the idea, your idea. So the prophecies were made after the temple was destroyed. Is that what he's saying?
I'm basically saying that I don't believe that Jesus said it.
So who wrote the fact that Jesus said,
The
you
writers
see
of
this
Mark-
temple will be destroyed?
The writers of Mark, the writers of Matthew, the writers of Luke, and the writer of John. That's it, simple.
So why would they give you predictions which are false, which you can see for yourself? That doesn't make sense, right? Jesus said, see this temple here? Because they asked him, when are you coming back again? And Jesus said, the temple will be destroyed, all of it. They will lift up the stones and throw them away. And today, when you go to Israel, the stones are not there. They've been lifted up. Exactly as Jesus said. When did this happen? AD 70. Everybody knows that. Now, if you're telling me that Matthew, Mark, Luke, John wrote the Gospels after AD 70, so why don't the same writers say, hey guys, we have just seen the temple being destroyed? They don't. No, but they tell you everything else, but they never say, I'm an eyewitness. I've just seen the temple destroyed. Is that exactly what Jesus said? They don't say that.
So Dr. Banda, he's an atheist then? Oh,
Yes, he is.
Okay.
But he doesn't believe the New Testament writers are writing the New Testament.
Right.
And he says Paul was the earliest writer of the New Testament.
Right.
And not Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the early 12 apostles, which is back to front.
Right.
That doesn't make sense either. Because Paul became what? A persecutor of the church.
Well, yeah.
He went all the way to Syria trying to get Christians into jail. And he was there when the first martyr, Stephen, died. He actually threw his clothes and agreed, yes, good. But Jesus confronted Paul on the road to Damascus. And from that point on, Paul says, I became a believer because Jesus had been resurrected. He doesn't like that. So he puts Paul in front of all the early apostles, which beggars the question, what's he on about? Then he says, I follow Bert Ehrman. I said, oh my goodness. That guy doesn't believe anything is supernatural. If God made an earthquake, he would say, oh, it's normal, right? So when Jesus was resurrected from the dead, right, nobody saw that, okay? But they saw him after his resurrection. That's why Jesus said, touch me, feel me. Does a ghost have hands, a body? No. And he says, give me something to eat. And he ate. So they're thinking, hang on, he can eat. Yeah, because the body is a real body. But he's resurrected from the dead. And then Thomas says, I want to see him. And put my hand where the nails were. And Thomas had to wait 8 days. 8 days later, Thomas sees Jesus coming through. Oh, my Lord and my God. Now, what does Thomas do afterwards? Thomas goes to India and preaches the gospel of the resurrection of Jesus to the Indians of India. Today, 2024, if you go to India as a country, the country of India, next door to Pakistan, you will find Christians who call themselves Thomas Christians. Not Pentecostals, not Methodists, not Salvation Army, Thomas Christians. Why? Because they say our great-great-great-grandfathers, they met Thomas, he preached the gospel, so we call ourselves Thomas Christians after him.
Okay.
And every year in India, they have a celebration called the Thomas Holiday. Well, the Indians who worship Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever, they remember St. Thomas went to India, died as a martyr in India. So that's what happened to Thomas. He gave his life because he realized Jesus is real. So along comes an atheist in the 21st century. Oh no, Paul was first before Thomas. And I'm going, this is completely upside down. Where are we in the 21st century when we have people talking like this? There you go. My case is closed. I'm just baffled by this. Thank you.
Dr. Banda, so just to wrap up, obviously you didn't wrap up.
Oh.
Like what message would you like to give the atheists, for example?
Well, an atheist has to acknowledge historical events. I wrote a book 30 years ago called Circular Evidence for the Resurrection. Why?
Why?
Because, to me, history is history. If you're a passionate human being and you love finding out about historical facts, you won't be surprised. So I looked at the Romans, I looked at the Greeks, I looked at the Jewish people, and I was amazed at the amount of information from the first century. People like Josephus, Tacitus, Pliny the Younger, and so forth. And what do they say as non-Christians? They say Jesus died under Pontius Pilate, and that there was a Roman guard at the tomb of Jesus. But what all of them cannot agree with, they don't understand the resurrection. They say we can't handle that. But why did the Roman Empire in AD 43 under Emperor Claudius put a new law in the Roman Empire saying, Emperor of Caesar's decree, from now on, anyone taking a dead body out of a tomb, when we find him, he should be executed. Why would you want to execute somebody for taking a dead body out of a tomb?
Why?
Does it make sense? Yeah. Because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So you got to look at the history. It's not just historical. The history points you to Jesus is alive. In the book of Revelation, the last book of Word from God, Jesus said, pay attention. Behold, I'm he who was dead. I am the first, I am the last, but I'm alive forevermore. Amen. And that's how I close.
Amen. Well done,
Thank you.
Banda. Well done.